Boom! The Florida Gators got their five-star signee. Dallas Wilson is a Florida Gator. Welcome back to the All Kinds of Weather forecast. I am your host, Neil Schulman. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at All Kinds Weather. Riding solo again tonight as Chris wraps up a couple things in the year 2024. He will be back in 2025. Before we go any further, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review on Apple Podcasts. All that good stuff helps us bring you more great Gators content. Also got to shout out our sponsor. The All Kinds of Weather forecast is proudly sponsored by 401k Generation, the wealth management company that helps you invest today for your future tomorrow. Their team of advisors is committed to providing guidance and education for your 401k plan and its participants, and they also offer a range of enrollment solutions tailored to meet the unique needs of your company's 401k plan. Whether it is savings for your child's college, investment advice, or even your retirement, 401k Generation's team of advisors makes getting to know you their top priority. Their advisors will tailor a path to assist you in navigating life's financial milestones and reaching your financial goals. That is 401k Generation, building stronger futures, one generation at a time. For more info, contact them 866-998-5879 or visit their website at 401kgeneration.com. Also have to shout out our sponsor for merchandise, Heads and Tails, your one-stop shop for everything Florida Gators related. Use code IAKOW30 in these last few days of 2024 to get yourself 30% off of your order in-store or online. They are based in Tampa, Florida, but they do ship anywhere in the country, and that code is good for about another 8 days. The remainder of 2024 does expire on New Year's Eve, so go ahead and get yourself some merch now while you still can at theheadsandtails.com and get yourself some gear for the holidays. All right, we love our sponsors. We really love this bit of news we got today. We kind of knew this was coming. We could read the tea leaves. We could anticipate that something was going to end very well for Florida in this recruitment process of Dallas Wilson. But it's official now. He has signed with the Florida Gators. There's no more conjecture. There's no more ambiguity about the situation. No, it's done. He's a Gator. He is a Florida Gator signee. He is no longer a prospect. He is no longer a target. He is no longer a recruit. He is a Florida Gator signee. And what a haul the Gators just got. We're talking about the immediate aftermath of the Pirate Bowl, right? The Gasparilla Bowl. So we're gonna keep going with that theme. We're gonna talk about how the Gators just got the ultimate treasure in Dallas Wilson. He is one of, depending on which recruiting site you look at, he is one of the top 35, 40 players in the country, or he is one of the top 30 in the country if you look at On3 or 247 Sports composite rankings. On3's industry ranking actually has him as the number 19 player in the country. The 247 Sports Talent Composite has him as the number 20 player in the country. 247 Sports Talent Composite has him as the number 4 wide receiver in the country, while the On3 industry ranking has him as the number 2 wide receiver in the country. This is a kid from Tampa Bay Tech. He was committed to Oregon for almost 2 full calendar years. He committed to the Ducks in January of 2023. And about 23 months later, in December of 2024, there started to be a little bit of smoke for him to maybe come to Florida, with the Gators making that late push. He was apparently torn, depending on who you read, depending on who you trust. He was thinking about making that move, deciding to flip to Florida, but no, it didn't happen. He wound up ultimately signing with the Oregon Ducks, making the move, literally about as far as you could go within the contiguous United States, from Tampa to Eugene, Oregon. But that wasn't going to stick. He signed with the Ducks. He signed his letter of intent to Oregon, but 2 weeks later, it came out that he was requesting to be released from his letter of intent to Oregon. It was first reported by On3.com's Zach Alberti, who spoke with Wilson's agent, Vernell Brown II of Elite Sports Management Group. That's elite with a 1 instead of an I. So EL1TE Sports Management Group. That's a nice bit of stylization there. As a guy who does marketing full time, I could definitely appreciate that. But anyway, Vernell Brown II. That name should sound familiar because not only was he a Gator cornerback back in the day, some 20 years ago, he's also the father of Vernell Brown III, who was another wide receiver signee for the Florida Gators. Vernell Brown III was, for a time, the highest rated prospect in the Gators class of 2025. That status has now been passed over to Dallas Wilson, the 6'3", 195-pound wide receiver from Tampa, is now officially the crown jewel of the Gators class. He is the highest ranked signee that the Florida Gators have got. Now, he was released from his letter of intent. The request was granted that same day, and Wilson's intent all along, from the moment that the report first came out that he wanted to be released from his letter of intent, the reports were his plan was to sign with the Florida Gators. There was never really a conversation about if Oregon was going to refuse to do that, because that would set a really bad precedent of just not caring about the athletes that they are supposed to develop into grown men, right? That's not going to play well in this day and age. Even with the NIL world being what it is, that's still not going to play very well. It's going to be very hard to recruit in that aspect. But even if they were to do that, even if they were to reject the release from the letter of intent, he could just enter the transfer portal and come to Florida that way. So it was going to happen one way or another. This kid had made his mind up. He wanted to be a Florida Gator. Oregon chose what I objectively think is the smart route, the same route that Florida chose with Jaden Rashada. They released him from his letter of intent. They let him walk. Florida comes along and gets him as a recruit and not as a transfer portal guy. Now, there were previous instances of Florida doing this with guys like Jameer Grimsley from Alabama and DeAndre Robinson from the University of Texas. But this one is different. DJ Lagway has his big play threat. Now, I mean, he's got talent coming back. He's got Aiden Mizell. He's got Trey Wilson. You'd like to think TJ Abrams is going to take a big step forward in year 2. Hayden Hansen makes for a very nice security blanket at tight end. But and there's Tank Hawkins, but this one is different. This is a kid that can make all kinds of different plays for you. You can go to his huddle. That's HUDL if you are not that familiar with recruiting. If you are, you know what I'm talking about. You can go to his huddle and you can watch his tape there. And some of the stuff he puts on tape is just insane. It's not natural. Some of the things he's able to do with his body. He's got the frame and the speed to be a frightening mismatch already at 6'3", 195, and he's still not done adding muscle mass. If he fills that frame out a little bit more, he could be and probably will be a day one starter for Florida as a true freshman next season. He's got the speed, as I mentioned, and he's also got this incredible athleticism along with these top-notch ball skills. He can make all different types of plays. It's the versatility for him that makes him such a problem for defenses. He can get the go up in traffic and get it type of balls for you. He can pull down fade routes and corner routes over defenders. He can make those contested catches. He can just go on a 9 route, just a go pattern, and beat everyone and take the top off of defense that way. He can catch those little slant passes and just turn the jets on and wave goodbye to everybody. Or nowadays they only use 2 fingers, right? The deuces. He could produce all these different sorts of highlights, and he's now going to be a Florida Gator. Which brings us to the conversation of the talent that DJ Lagway is going to have next season. He's also going to have J. Michael Sturdivant, who committed on the resale market from UCLA. Of course, we mentioned the returning guys that he's going to have in the pass catching game. DJ Lagway also, of course, is going to have 4 of his 5 offensive linemen from 2024 returning in 2025. The lone departure going to be BCD, aka Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, who is out of eligibility. Florida will also lose Montrell Johnson, but they will get Jacoby Jackson back, and they will get Jaden Ball back in the running game, as well as KD Daniels. We saw him step up with a very nice, heady play, the wherewithal for him to pick that fumble up and take it to the house through the Tulane defense in the Gasparilla Bowl. There's a lot of talent on this Florida team next year. We talked about in the offseason heading into this one, we talked about how Florida should be able to compete with everyone they face from a talent standpoint. Well, it turned out they weren't really ready to do that against Miami and against Texas A&M. They weren't really competitive in those games. The season played itself out. Florida was competitive with everyone else until they faced Texas. That didn't go so well either. Now we think, though, we've got 4 of the 5 offensive linemen back. Jake Slaughter's an All-American, and he's coming back now. Now we've got all these additional pieces. We really have reason to believe this time, as opposed to hoping, that the Florida Gators are going to have the talent to compete with everybody. And it won't just be a hope. It won't just be a wish. There's reason to think so. Now, this is a 5-star that Florida got. We know the quarterback is a 5-star. He won't be a freshman next year. It won't be a 5-star signee who's still raw and young and learning. It'll be a sophomore, a second-year guy who was ranked as a 5-star and who showed good reason for his 5-star ranking this past season, by the way. Florida should be in position to compete because they've got the pieces now. So that momentum that the Florida Gators have gotten this past at the end of this regular season against LSU, against Ole Miss, against FSU, the big rival, and in the bowl game against Tulane, the Gators have now continued to build momentum as we head into the offseason. Now, it's a long offseason, but the Gators are definitely trending in the right direction. So, putting a bow on this short mini show, the commitment of Dallas Wilson officially gives the Gators a top 10 class in the 247 Sports composite rankings. The Gators have not had a top 10 class under Billy Napier in the composite rankings. They were close. They were in the 11 to 15 range, never in that top 10 until now, until the signing of Dallas Wilson. This pushes them ahead of the Tennessee Volunteers, who were previously ranked number 10. The Gators overtake them, and that is the prize for the man that we, for a while, I think earnestly and then derisively called Blue Chip Billy. Here we go. We've got the pieces now. It is up to Billy and his staff to continue this momentum throughout the offseason, make some staff changes that I think we all know he needs to make. We'll touch on that in another episode, but keep this momentum going, keep building positive vibes and positive momentum for this program, and we will see a team in the fall that hits the ground running. Day one, they're ready to go. We don't play Miami to start the year, but that looks like on day one, we could compete with anybody that we face because we make the moves we're supposed to make this offseason. We are prepared for the start of the season. We hit the ground running and we launch a season that we can all remember very fondly. So that's it for today. A very quick show. We had to break that news of Dallas Wilson. If you are not already subscribed, please be sure to do so. Hit that button down below. It is free to do so. Also, please be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a nice review on Apple Podcasts. We would definitely appreciate that as well. And until next time, y'all, stay safe, stay healthy. Go Gators. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year. Go Gators. And hey, we got basketball to talk about too. They're looking pretty damn good, beating UNC in Charlotte and then obliterating North Florida in a game that I don't think anyone really ever thought was going to be a contest. But nonetheless, Gators have not lost yet, and they really have not been challenged yet, aside from one half of ball against UNC and maybe, I guess you could say, a couple minutes against FSU down the stretch. But the Gators are unbeaten, 12-0, and we'll talk about them more as the winter rolls on. So until next time, y'all, go Gators. Let's keep this momentum going on the football field. Off the football field, I should say, and on the basketball court.